Welcome back to the Enemies of the Fire podcast. The boys are here. We're talking all things MLS All Stars. The game just ended just moments ago, and MLS got worked 4-1. Gentlemen, how do you feel about that?
I'm wondering if Liga MX, if Mexican national team, people who are fans of the Mexican national team should be demanding more out of the Mexican national team based upon what we saw from Liga MX. Because right now, the Mexican national team is in total tatters. It seems like they're a disappointment. They're not putting things together. But what I just saw from Liga MX, which has to have a cavalcade of Mexican players at its disposal, that's making the league as good as it is to where we saw, what a product. What a great product. And it makes me wonder why it's not translating.
You know, one of the main cogs of the machine of that team tonight was a Frenchman, correct?
Oh, who's it? Gignac?
Yeah, Gignac.
He's been there forever.
He's been playing there for like 10 years.
Dude, you know what?
He went to the World Cup in 2010 and said, "Screw it, I'm going to Mexico."
Exactly. And he was still getting called up by the French national team. You know,
I know. That's why I tell you guys that whole if he plays in MLS, I don't want him.
He's 38 years old. Andre Pierre Christian Gignac. He's played for Unal Tigre since 2015.
You're comparing apples and oranges, my friend.
You think?
You know, Liga MX has no salary cap.
Really?
Yeah, but does it? Well, but hold on, gentlemen.
They also have teams that don't play their players, though.
I would like to. So the game itself was just like, hold on. So we're going layers. The game itself, it was kind of fun. It was back and forth, right? Yeah. A lot of shots, a lot of hit the post, a lot of this, that, and the other, a lot of goals. The next stage over, Liga MX is better than MLS, and I will tell you though, if it was like a video game and you didn't care about stamina and you just kept the starting 11 in, it would be really close. Where Liga MX spends its money and kills you is spots number 12 through 25. That's where they still have the much upper hand. 1 through 11, they're extremely close. That's why, like, you saw Leagues Cup play out how it did last year. But, like, when you start getting into, like, serious, like, subs coming off the bench, CONCACAF Champions League, that's where they always pull ahead and win in the end.
And that's not to say that MLS teams cannot be just individual MLS teams cannot be just as competitive as Liga MX teams. There's certain teams in MLS that can compete against Liga MX teams. Clearly, the Fire's not one of them. So
definitely. But so does this actually like mean anything? Does MLS take an L tonight?
Yeah.
To you guys?
I mean,
it's not the CONCACAF Champions League. I use that as a measuring stick. You know, the CONCACAF Champions League is the measuring stick of the region. I don't think this All Star game, using 11 guys that don't play with each other and play against each other on a weekly basis is going to make a difference. So
it's a fun showcase.
I think it could have just as easily been 4-1 the other direction. Because the same thing for the Liga MX All Stars is that it's just a group of guys. Like, honestly, it's just a group of guys playing a group of. It's a pickup game. It's the funnest of pickup games. Like, but
I wonder if you could get anything from the coaching. Like, if what goes into what made this game, why Liga MX is because of their coaching. I wonder if it is, and maybe that's a knock on.
No, Wilfred Nancy plays. He plays exclusively with three center backs. He didn't do that tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He played basically a 4-4-1-1.
They're in Columbus, though, so they are in his home stadium. He should be comfortable.
They are, but he didn't play his game. He played what he had in front of him. And I like I said, it was a pure pickup game. It could have gone the other way. Now, I remember the days. Like, James and I, we remember the East-West games.
Oh, dude, I remember those, yeah.
But after that, we went into the, like, we had to prove ourselves category. We started inviting Tottenham and Chelsea and all these other bullshit teams over. And like, I hated those All-Star games because it was just like, it was no win. If MLS won, it was the other team was in preseason. If MLS lost, they were suckers. They
So
suck.
the crazy thing is that I do miss the East West versus West games because those games were wild, man. You had like I think one year it was like 6. The scoreline was 6-6.
That's
So
the kind of game you want.
2001, 6-6, MLS West versus East. Yes.
yeah, that was I think that was Landon Donovan's like coming out party game type of thing.
And then they took on the U.S. men's national team.
Really?
Yeah, it says MLS All Stars versus the United States in 2002.
Wow.
Oh, you know what it is? I think it could have been two things. It could have been I don't remember if it was the U.S. men's national team or it was just the U.S. men's national team MLS-based players.
Oh, like MLS versus the world type of thing.
They already did
yeah.
that. They did
US
that in
versus the
'98.
world. Okay.
USA versus the world. They did do that already. This one, and then the next year after MLS All Stars versus United States, which actually we could just take a look at the game. I mean, I could open it up. Let's
honestly. So what's your favorite format for this, DPG?
I think we have to go East versus West, man.
Really?
I think we have to go back to that. I think the whole let's prove ourselves to the rest of the world stuff it's overrated and overplayed out. Because clearly we're not doing what the rest of the world does. I always feel like MLS is like an experimental test bed for FIFA. So,
it can be, and it likes to be because it puts it more in the zeitgeist, like as much shit as everybody wants to talk about MLS, guess what? Most of the world knows MLS exists. I don't know the name of the Swedish league. I don't know the name of the Swiss league.
You know why? It's because they use their sponsor's name on
okay, but still.
Can I read this to you guys?
Saying,
let me read this to you guys.
Go ahead.
So the MLS All Stars defeated members of the United States national team 3-2 in front of 31,000 fans at RFK Stadium.
Oh, that must have been like the victory lap after the 02 World Cup.
Here's the USA team, and then I'll read the MLS team first, actually, and then I'll read the USA team. MLS, Tim Howard, and Joe Cannon were the goalkeepers. Okay. Joe Cannon came in the second half.
The MLS All Stars?
This is the MLS All Stars.
Okay.
Because that's when Tim Howard was a Metro star.
On the other side, you had Tony Meola and Jurgen Sommer, who were playing for USA.
What? Jurgen Sommer? That must have been like
2002.
Okay, that must have been like his last year, because man.
So all right, back to MLS. You had Ryan Suarez, Mike Petke, Carlos Bocanegra. Wow, Mulrooney got to re-enter the game. People got to re-enter the game.
Wow, Mulrooney, wow.
So people
got these names.
Wow. So Steve Ralston, Richard Mulrooney.
Steve Ralston.
A name I haven't heard in so long.
Carlos Valderrama, Demo Kovalenko, Mark Chung, Taylor Twellman, and Carlos Ruiz.
Whoa.
Those were the MLS players. That's a good MLS team.
Yeah, what's up,
man? You know what I turned James on to before we recorded tonight?
Yeah.
What's up?
Ricardo Clark kicking the shit out of Carlos Ruiz.
Right in the family jewels, right?
No, it was like in his chest.
Oh, yeah.
His arm chest.
There's a picture of him taking a kick from CJ Brown, I think.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, so yeah, CJ Brown was kicking somebody in the nuts. Yeah, I remember that one.
Even the expression on Carlos Ruiz is like
so
would they call him El Pescadito? Was it? Is that the fish?
The little fish.
Yeah. That MLS team is stacked. I mean, Valderrama, Kovalenko, Chung at the top of his powers.
The crazy thing is that midfield is led by Steve Ralston.
I mean, Ralston's one of those guys, he was never a national team guy, but he's a legal legend.
Chris Klein's listed. Ariel Graziani, Wade Barrett. Joselito Vaca. Marco Echeverry and Jason Kreis were also part of that MLS team.
Scoring gols, baby.
So the USA team. Let me tell you about this USA team. I already mentioned
Tony Meola. I want to hear.
I already mentioned Tony Meola, Jurgen Sommer. Then you got Eddie Pope.
Yes.
Who was replaced by Alexi Lalas in the second half.
Oh, yeah, that's right, mister. I came back from retirement to play for LA Galaxy.
Pope and Lalas. Carlos Lamosa.
I
Or
remember him.
Jamosa, yeah, Jamosa,
He
yeah.
played in MLS too, didn't he?
Yeah, DC United.
Calros.
Okay, thank
It
you.
says Calros. It's not Carlos. It's Calros. Maybe that's a typo.
Typo.
Chris Henderson, also part of the U.S. men's national team setup.
Yeah, I remember Chris Henderson.
Jeff Agus or Jeff Agus.
Jeff Agus. Agus? You don't know Agus, man?
Agus.
Jeff
What do you man?
Chad Deering.
Oh, wow.
Kobe Jones.
Kobe Jones, okay.
Brian Masonueve.
Masonoff? Brian Masonoff?
Yeah, Brian Masonoff.
Man, bro, we were really scraping the bottom of the barrel for this national
team is not as good as the MLS team that I was just reading the name from.
No.
Oh, God, no.
Pablo Mastroeni.
Okay, yeah.
Preki.
Okay.
Preki, yeah.
Mike Burns. DeMarcus Beasley.
Man, hold on. I'll be right back.
And Landon Donovan and Brian McBride.
Good Lord. So, what a fun game. I love
they got beat. Steve Ralston buried the shot in the 81st minute for the winner.
I love those old MLS names, man. It's so good to hear some of those again. So, James, what's your favorite setup for this whole All-Star Game thing? Or should it even exist?
Okay, so MLS USA versus the World's I don't think you could sometimes make good enough team for both sides. MLS East West, that is a good format. I do like that. I am not a fan of bringing in the club team. Dude, I don't want to bring in the Guadalajara, Chelsea, Fulham, Celtic, West Ham, Everton, Manchester United, Roma. I don't want to bring in Bayern, Tottenham, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, any of these. Arsenal. I do really like the Liga MX MLS showcase. I agree.
Do. I really, honestly, I feel like they should move it to the end of the season, just the week after the end of the season.
Well, it depends what Liga MX is playing too.
You're right. I'd love for it to be at the end of both seasons, and you get like a true best 11. You know what I mean? Going up against a true best 11. But yeah, I'm with you. My number one, I think this is my favorite setup for this. But to be honest, we have enough teams now to do East-West.
There is. So instead of just having 18 to 22 players of the best MLS, you could have that doubled. You could have the top 40 or so of the MLS. But I actually think the less is better. It's more special. Having the top 20,
you're right,
top 22 of MLS is better than having the top 40. And having the top 20 of Liga MX playing them, that is another. I love it. I think it's fun.
It's so much fun. I like that
they
format
cared.
the best.
You could see that both teams were trying. They didn't want to get dogged by the other team, so there's a little pride at play. It looks like they're having fun. They're not really trying to injure each other. It looks like it could go that way sometimes, but it looks like they were all out there having fun.
Yeah, it was fun, but they played hard. You know what I mean? That's what makes a good game. I don't know. I'm a fan of this format. If you're gonna do an All-Star game, this is the way to do it, because as much as I hate Leagues Cup, and we will get to that, I promise you today we are talking about that. As much as I hate Leagues Cup, I do think the future of Major League Soccer is intertwined with Liga MX. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like we need to merge leagues. We need to be La Liga and EPL of the Western Hemisphere.
Yes. And they don't exactly have a relationship so much as they're looked to as the dominant leagues of their respective areas.
I would like to see more player movement between the two. I'd like to see the CONCACAF Champions League taking...
Do you really see a lot of EPL to La Liga? I feel like we see a lot of La Liga to EPL.
Well, I was going to say Gundogan, he went from Man City to... why am I blanking? Was it Madrid? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You see it. You see guys go back and forth. And you know, when Messi and Ronaldo were both in La Liga, it was better than the EPL. Yes. Right now, EPL is better than La Liga. But that stuff changes, man. Yes. And I would like that kind of dynamic flow. If I had my wish, you would consider MLS the top, the sixth best league. Because you'll never usurp the top 5. But I would love to see MLS be the number 1 league in the Westrern Hemisphere.
Yes,
over
that's
Brazil,
possible.
over Argentina, over Mexico. I want nothing more. That would be success, in my opinion.
You are
you know,
definitely
everybody
not
wants us
there
to
yet, but
no, and people even want us to be the EPL. Like, I don't. That's cool and all, but like, let's incremental steps. It would be so dope if this was by far the best league in the Western Hemisphere. If you wanted to live over in the Western Hemisphere, you instantly wanted to be in MLS. That would be my goal.
I wonder if there's also a slight problem with MLS inherently that European leagues don't happen to have. It's this promotion relegation pressure that the players feel to have to be able to play their best game in, game out, where in MLS you can slag a quarter of the season, X amount of games, game here, back to back. You could slag games, where in the EPL, if you're slagging a game, you're relegated.
And you're missing. You're going down a slot.
And I wonder if that
time.
type of environment's just, it's just more beneficial for the better players. But how do you get the MLS to buy into that type of thinking? Where does that come into it?
You don't. Every other, like we've talked about this before, every other league on the planet desperately trying to figure out how to make their league like MLS
Closed.
In all the ways we hate. Honestly. Like they want that NFL
relegation. More, it's safer for the owners who are buying into it, right? They want less volatility, and in some ways, it's actually safer for some of these communities too, because then some of them aren't plunged into vicious amounts of debt after getting relegated.
I'm with you. I guess to wrap this back around. The All Star Game, there was a time in life when I really wanted this league to be better, and I desperately hated getting clowned online for liking the league. I constantly hated the league getting clowned in the World Sphere. I hated seeing teams like Bayern come and beat us up on our All Star. Oh, this is the best you have. It's like, well, yeah, they don't play together. I'm sick. I was sick of all that. And to be honest, that's why I'm less angry than some other people about the league now. It's just I'm enjoying the ride. Things are so much better than they've ever been.
Even
to
with
be an
them
MLS
losing,
fan.
even with them losing to Liga MX,
100%.
You were asking me if it's gonna hit them. I'm like, yes and no. It's not really, because this is just a showcase of the best players, and really it was a delightful showcase. And guess what? MLS is leaning into it. They're celebrating Liga MX's win, and that is honorable. That's good. And guess what that's gonna do? It's gonna drum this up for next time, and maybe this starts growing into something really, really fun here. And then, as you said, maybe then we're getting some of these Liga MX transfers over here, and then maybe we're bringing a couple more national Mexican players over here, and then all of a sudden more MLS players are going over there, and then maybe we become the more desirable league of the of this. I don't know if we're gonna really compete with Brazil.
You don't think? I mean, I think Brazil, the only thing they have going for them is just the wealth of talent that comes up.
So maybe
but
we
if
can
you snipe them at
eventually.
But if you start sniping them at 17 to MLS opposed to overseas, and even so, they've been so overvalued, they're starting to ship less players over.
That's true.
We're seeing the instant impact of it on the Brazilian national team. Richarlison is a good player, really, really good player. But if you ever told me when I first started watching soccer and saw Fat Ronaldo and Ronaldinho and Robinho and Adriano and every other motherfucker, and you told Kaká, it just if you told me that team, that Richarlison would start for a Brazilian national team, I would tell you were crazy. And now, every team has its ebb and flows, ups and downs, But I mean, Brazil has never been the same since getting smacked 7-1 in their own home.
You think that Richarlison's a part of I thought he was good enough. I thought he was.
I mean, he's good, but when you first started watching soccer and Fat Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, put your mind from that era into this era. Is Richarlison a number one starter in your brain? no. Like, you're like, oh, they got to have somebody better than that.
Well, he's not playing for Real Madrid, is he?
I mean, it's wild. Like I said, it's wild. Anyway, to wrap up, like I said, All-Star doesn't really mean anything. It's just a fun time. Let's just have some fun. We don't need all the think pieces.
Speaking of think pieces, we got another one coming up for you. Talking about Chicago Fire.
But let's couch that. Let's say we're talking about Leagues Cup.
All right.
The Fire aren't popular enough right now. Anyway, punt that like button, baby.
We'll be right back.
We love you.